the enhanced sidewalks proximity to King Pump. So it's probably worth bringing up and having, in the application that we're looking forward also to this further application for this project that's already on the books with NOACA, with Cleveland Heights and University Heights. I would like to take a moment, though, to thank you, Jeff, Mr. Engelbrecht, for all your work on this with your counterparts in not only in Cleveland Heights, but in East Cleveland. I've had the pleasure of speaking with Mayor Sarin and Mayor Brendan King about this project and about the work that's all being done together. And it's wonderful to have this kind of collaboration with two of our neighbors. And I know that Cleveland Heights is contemplating a similar resolution this evening as well. We anticipate it will pass, and we understand East Cleveland is also contemplating a similar resolution, and we are hopeful as well that it will pass there. So, thank you for that. Are there any further questions or comments with respect to this particular item? Mrs. Sims.
Thank you once again. Just one more thing to add on to the mayor's comment about that enhanced sidewalk and our comments over here. The other thing is I didn't kid myself to think that the parking on the west side is just for the businesses, because there's such restricted parking, limited parking, not restricted, in the townhouses that people, visitors, repair people, and so to have more access to the townhomes is equally as important, maybe more so, than the businesses. Just another comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Rowe.
You bring up an excellent point. I didn't even think about that. But in the planning commission meeting, the developers and city administration assured us that residents can park on the road.
On the east side.
On the east side of it.
Yeah, out of that.
And they can walk right up to their door. And that there would be signs to allow people to park there. And we were going to give, some type of preferential treatment for even overnight parking for guests. So you're right. Not only is there not a single guest spot in the development, there's no more street parking. That's a very good observation.
Thank you. Are there any further comments?
The east side parking in University Heights, if I'm not mistaken, in our section of Taylor, didn't that come about because of the overflow in the shopping center for the Bureau of Motor Vehicles?
No. We marked off the spots on the east side of Taylor in response to the parking needs primarily on the Cleveland Heights side, where a parking lot had been closed. If you look on...
Yeah, that's the end lot?
Yes.
The end lot, the old Heinen's overflow lot.
Yeah, we're just south of the Dental TLC. That lot has
it's on
since
Cedar Brook in Taylor.
changed hands and should be reopening if it hasn't already. Also, some of these businesses were using their own parking lots, such as Quintana's, to have an outdoor patio, which during the pandemic, instead of having people inside, they were serving and customers outside where there was fresh air and not having them inside the speakeasy. So there was a shortage of parking both at that business, also a shortage of parking, which also affected, of course, the barber shop and the spa. So there was a shortage of parking there. There was a request from Mr. Brisket or Sandwich Shop and others that if University Heights could provide some relief. We were responsive to that. We did, between parking lots being closed and the strike parking there. Those parking lots are reopening or have reopened. So that need has gone away.
I again, living there and being intimately knowledgeable about the area, because I deal with it every day, is the reason why I kept asking if this comprehensive parking management strategy, which I think is a tremendous idea. That's why I kept asking for a copy of it, because I know unless the parking can get coordinated with the businesses, you can do the greatest thing in the world with the street, but the complaints are going to be high. And then we're going to start to get the chaos of how can we fix this?
A copy of the study or whole parking for a particular business in front of a particular door, but that district-wide
Chapter 3, many off-street parking lots are underused even during the busiest times. While all of the recommendations from the Cedar-Taylor Business District for that will require support from merchants, parking management is a topic that requires additional coordination. You give me stuff to read, I read it. A comprehensive parking management strategy should be developed collaboratively by the cities of Cleveland Heights, University Heights, and the merchants. For this and the other recommendations for the district, the Cedar-Taylor Development Association is an ideal partner. A parking management plan should identify opportunities for businesses to share customer parking, prioritize improvements for safety and visibility of customer parking areas, and develop a wayfinding scheme to sign the space. I think it's a darn good idea. Between 2019 and 20 grant, because if we did, everybody's on this. That's
Mr. Engelbrecht, you spoke with Kevin Smith of the once and former Cedar-Taylor merchants, correct? Yeah.
So, yeah, today, about 50 about with Cleveland Heights. Mr. Smith actually visit, and he said he the plan. It's not, it's that it would need to be. That's
Yeah. For what it's worth, I know Mr. Smith is still social even if they are not meeting on the regular. Because he's the person behind the account, but to the extent that done, as we go through this and continue on to see the tailored improvements. And, even if the side during the pandemic, I think that this kind of project and district very well to
Yes, I have a, how do you envision if we could do that study? Because we're this and this is commercial space. But I can tell you, I drive down Taylor on the Cleveland Heights part, University Heights part too also, and if the merchants have not been told about that, I mean, it is filled. And I can tell you there is not enough parking in the back or on the side for any of those Cleveland Heights. Like if this study was done, it has to be done with all three cities. Before, now, when is this due again?
And so the presentation on it likely mid-November, we'll find out in January.
So, December? Or not? No, I'm saying to get this study. I honestly, when I'm thinking of the University Heights piece, the townhomes are glaring to me that they need some kind of permit parking. I'm just thinking of the few. This is not. I mean, I just know it. So it will be a much harder sell for stakeholders than for universities. I'm trying to like everything about it, but that parking piece, if it wasn't done.
Among the parking options, we're also working on with the school district at the Delisle Center for a portion of the lot that they're not using. And that is something that the school district informally said they were open to. So there are some other options besides Taylor Road when it comes to visitor parking for the South Taylor Discount.
Although everybody's worried about the townhomes, I can tell you that Laundry Center, it's a good thing there's an enhanced crosswalk there because that lot fills up, which I'm rather amazed by, but that particular lot is very busy. The whole thing has to also have a traffic effect. A lot. And Mayor heavily involved with NOACA. You tend to respond to things that NOACA manner that would motivate you to make sure somehow that happens, and I would appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Mr. Rowe.
Mr. Engelbrecht, did you reach out to Knez Homes to let them know that their parking's going to be removed?
No.
This is really concerning me now. I went back and looked at the minutes from the February 16th, 2021 meeting when we approved the townhomes, and in these minutes, there's so much reassurance that parking will be available. The NOACA study now was paused for and that they would 2 lanes, which were $570,000 for a townhome and not have a parking spot.
You know, every resident's going to have to.
Their garage. Your cable goes out, and the cable person comes. Or the dishwasher. I asked every single one of these questions, and there's sort of assurance in the minutes here that we got to cover the one unit. They haven't sold a single unit, and we're taking away their parking, their street parking. So I'm a little concerned about that. Is that something we can read? Development agreement. Was there any mention of the developer?
On-street parking wasn't a component of the residential attached zone.
But there was reply the same. Since the planning commission had a review of the site plan, is not cases. Reach out.
They were Taylor Road. But
The agreement with the school district that we can use their parking lot. They're already building these townhomes. I want to see and the agreement. For you, where's the agreement to use? I want to see in writing that we can use these parking spots for these residents between these dates and times for a period with whatever the expiration date is. I want to see it. Do we have that?
no, we do not.
We do not.
Mrs. Wells.
So I think based on what Mr. Rock said, and we have to do the parking study anyways, we have to November. We don't have to accept the grant if we get awarded it. I hope we do. But Mayor, can you get that agreement with the Delisle Center?
Oh, I'll certainly broach the school district about it. Mr. King.
Thank you, Mayor. Just see the conversation, discussion winding down. Just before we go to take a vote. I just want to bring people back to the beginning of the conversation where we were talking about increased safety for all modes of transit. So I really hope that we're able to move forward with requesting this money from the LACA while we work on some of these other issues that have been brought up today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King.
Yes, Mr. Maxwell.
I agree with Mr. King. Like I said, I looked at it, I think it's a really good project. I think we definitely have pointed out, I would hope, if I was talked about. Is general. We're go as smooth. I think
Thank you. Approve this with contingency? And include cost piece parking was overlooked. It's very disappointing. It's a beautiful plan, but that piece, which that part of our city that we're always saying is neglected, is once again neglected by administration. And I'm sad about that, but it is a great opportunity.
Well, I hope it's not neglected by this council by anybody voting no.
One more question.
Go ahead, Mr.
All right, can you just walk us through this timeline from today until it is ribbon cut? Walk us through what's the process, when can changes be implemented, because we're going to talk about parking, we're going to have to fix this. Council might have to do more, administration doesn't want to. Walk us through, how much time do we have to really finesse this?
So, if I base it on last year's collaborative grants between Cleveland Heights and South Euclid, the scope meeting that was scheduled or was supposed to have been scheduled with ODOT hasn't happened yet. So it could be over a year, which gives, realistically, gives us as a city time to reach out to all the stakeholders all over again and say, hey, we're moving forward. Let's talk about parking. Let's talk about shared lots. Let's talk about whatever we got to talk about. And get it. This is primarily painting, except for the expanded
We might not even have accepted the grant yet, or no?
Well, so
When do we accept the grant?
yeah, so we submit this Friday. There will be a presentation I have to give probably mid. Recommendation, or not ODOT, but NOACA will make the recommendations at the beginning of the year, late January likely, and so by then, they'll give us the grant award letter. We start to get moving with ODOT, and it's a reimbursable grant.
Yeah.
So we gotta spend the money. We show NOACA did it.
And we what I'm saying is, it says, what do we say?
Again, steps. Likely, yes.
Okay, but then there's still now.
Could be.
So what? It's not really unreversible. Design phase.
It's got to get off it.
I
Very good, motion carries. Thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Engel.
with 5 locations. Yeah. $59,000 bid. Complete. Any questions?
Very good, thank you, Mr. Bennington. Mr. King.
Thank you, Mayor. So, correctly, on this,
Yes.
so one of the
2603. To recall, maybe about a year. Yes, and service director. 3 years, 5 years of the addresses where the trees were removed, and then compare that with the I think that would also please. So that identify or told that
We're doing now. Last year, I believe we replaced 40 trees, and some the year before.
but that way you would see.
Right.
I think that'll take an hour. And things all day long. Thank you.
Mr. Bennington, I'd like to thank you for your response on the weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Bowser. Mr. Rowe.
Now, there may be a few other.
Heading into that Logoville area, I think a tree had went down last year or so, so maybe if there's an extra one, can go on that median. It was where the old sign used to be.
Okay.
Take a look.
University Drive.
Drive. Boulevard. Boulevard.
University Boulevard. Okay, I'll take a look at the application.
with the foliage and the shrubbery and pretty much everything. Would maybe not long.
Seeing none, Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?
Aye. Mrs. Wise. Aye. Mr. Rod.
Aye.
Ms. Weiser.
Very good, motion carries. Thank you. Next is item G, motion to enter executive session for the purpose of discussing legal proceedings, personnel, and real estate matters. The administration does not have anything further to discuss in executive session, already having held one this evening. We will now turn to the reports of council. First is building and housing. Ms. Watson.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Community outreach, Mr. King.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Economic development, Mr. Rock.
Yes, Mayor, just to echo what Ms. Drucker said, there'll be a meeting on October 24th from 6 to 8 to review next step of zoning. John Carroll University was not available. A space at John Carroll University was not available, so we will be at the library.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Finance, Mrs. Wise.
Yes, there is a meeting on October 17th at 7 p.m. here at Wiley.
Okay. Finance. Thank you, Mrs. Wise. Recreation, Mr. Cooney's not here. Is there a report from any other committee member? If there is none, then no report, and we'll go to safety. Ms. Marshall is also absent today. I don't know if there's a report from any other committee member. Seeing none, no report. Service and utilities, Mrs. Sachs.
Thank you. There's a Service and Utilities Committee meeting on October 10th at 6:30 here at Wiley. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee of the Whole, Mrs. Wise.
Yes, thank you. We just got word from the Board of Elections that we will be rescheduling the Council of the Whole meeting discussing ranked choice voting and other options on October 18th at 6 p.m. at Wiley.
October 18th, 6 p.m. Okay. Thank you.
What time?
6.
Pardon?
6.
6.
Okay. Are there any reports of special committees? Taking action thereon. Seeing none. Any unfinished and miscellaneous business? Seeing none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So,
A motion adjourned by Mr. Rock. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Sachs. Mrs. Thomas, will you call the roll?